like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Alright, so here's the point of the video, okay? The question that was asked of me is, what did you do to make them come after you, to make them do all those mean things? I have an email. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see if it's in here. Well, if I don't find it real quick, then I'm just gonna. So it was like, why was this person so upset with you? So a question like that, okay, let me tell you something. If you don't understand narcissist abuse, that's probably a question that you shouldn't ask. Because the number one thing narcissists do is they want to blame you for everything. You could literally be doing absolutely nothing and they're mad at you and you're just going, what's wrong? What's going on? I mean, a lot of you who've been through narcissist abuse know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to answer that question. So what did you do to get them to be mad at you, or why were they upset you? The ultimate answer really is nothing. You don't have to do anything. You could literally be across the street, sitting in a chair, reading a book, minding your own business, and they're going to be pissed. And you're just and it's like, and that people have dealt with narcissists. You're always asking, well, what did I do? Well, here's the thing: you didn't do anything, and that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That's the point of this video. You didn't do anything. So I'm going to, in a sarcastic way, I'm going to answer that question. All right, so in a very kind way, I'm going to tell you what's going on inside a narcissist's brain. They are going nuts. They have constant judgment. And the reason being is they're stuck in the far left part of their brain, which is the judgmental brain, which means not only are they judging you and everyone around them, they're essentially and ultimately judging themselves all the time. Everything they say, their haircut, the way they tie their shoes. And they have this constant criticism, self-criticism going on inside. And what happens is they are just going nuts. They don't like themselves. They don't think they're good. They don't think they're good enough. And on and on and on. And what they do is they then begin to lash out at other people. They begin to project this onto you or find a way. Well, it must be someone's fault. It's their fault. And they blame. It's like they can't take it anymore. So they have to take this anger and hurt out on someone, which is you, because you happen to be in the right place at the right time. In the right place at the right time, at least according to the narcissist. According to you, no, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So remember, there's a lot going on inside their head. Narcissists cannot stop thinking, and that's one of the hardest things that they're going through. They can't stop, and thus they suffer a lot, and thus they lash out. And if you're in their area, well, guess what? It's all your fault, and it's you, according to them. So why are they upset at you? Oh, you won an event. You were successful. You got good grades. You got bad grades. You didn't win. You're dating a pretty girl. You're not dating a pretty girl. You said hello. You didn't say hello. You were kind to them. You weren't kind to them. You were very helpful to them, and they appreciated it. You weren't helpful to them, right? So the thing about it is, it doesn't matter what you do or don't do. They're good. It doesn't matter. They're going to be mad regardless of what you do or don't do. But let's continue on. You were supportive of them. How horrible. I mean, why would anyone be supportive of someone? The horror, right? That would upset anyone. You weren't supportive of them. I mean, I can literally go down the list. One of the things that narcissists, it's confusing because, okay, all right. I've got a book over there. It's called The Day You Were Born. It's a book on astrology, okay? I grabbed it because, and this was the one, this really got me to start believing in astrology. Before, I just thought, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I believe it. I'm not sold on it. So I was about 28 years old or so, approximately, maybe a little bit after that, or maybe just before that. I was at a bookstore in Emeryville. It was a Borders bookstore. I used to go there all the time. Emeryville, by the way, is right next to Oakland. It's literally connected to the Bay Bridge. So when you come out of San Francisco, you land in Emeryville, okay? So it was like a 3-minute drive from where you land from Emeryville. You just take the next exit and zip, zip, and you're right there. So if you're an empath, the way that you're wired is so opposite of a narcissist. And I would say the average person who's in the middle will call, right? When you try to explain to these people what happened to you, they just look at you like, it's like some people just don't believe you. And here's why. It's because they're like, why would anyone do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? I had a friend of mine, and he meant well, and I didn't take it in a bad way at all. He goes, oh, that person's probably doing cocaine or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? Is that like a symptom of cocaine? Because I've never done cocaine, so I have no idea. And so he goes, well, no, it's just, it sounds nuts. Like, why would someone do that? That doesn't make any sense. That right there, if things don't make any sense, you're dealing with a narcissist. They don't make sense. Their wiring is so opposite. Okay, so the book about the astrology thing, about the day you were born is, I was talking to a lady at a bookstore. In fact, I was just going through, I think it was a personal development, or maybe I was really into personal development back in Tony Robbins and going to all these NLP trainings, these 5-week trainings. And I traveled quite a bit, actually. I went to Pennsylvania, San Diego, Hawaii, back down to Los Angeles. And then it was, what was the name of the city? I think it was in Orange County. No, I think it was in Los Angeles County. I can't remember the name of the city, but it'll come to me in a minute. So I traveled a lot. I went to a lot of different places to study this stuff. And I just happened to be in the bookstore, and I was looking at all the newest books, and I was trying to find a certain book. And so he goes, well, what are you looking for? And I forget what I said, and she goes, well, why? And I forget, what did I say to her? I said, I seem to have this problem with people. When they first meet me, they're really mean to me. This might not have been it. They're really mean to me. Yes, this was it. But then about 6 months later, they come up and they apologize profusely. She goes, well, why? I go, well, they keep telling me, like, when I first met you, I just assumed you were this really messed up person, no, not messed up, but like that you had no feelings, that you were had this really thick skin, and that you were numb, and that you don't understand what it's like to be sensitive. And the lady goes, really? She goes, what's your signs? And I go, well, I'm a Scorpio. And she goes, well, what's your first house? And I told her, and she goes, oh, she goes, Michael, okay, my first house is on the Leo. She goes, when people first meet you, it's like, she goes, your first house is like if someone's standing on the street or the sidewalk and they're looking at the house. I'm like, okay. She goes, from the outside, you look really tough. You look like a lion, a Leo. She goes, you look like you have this thick skin, that you're tough, that nothing can hurt you. And she goes, a lot of people will just assume because of that, you don't understand their feelings and you don't care about them. And she goes, but since you're a Scorpio, you're actually an extremely sensitive person. And you literally take on their feelings, don't you? I'm like, yeah, every time I walk by someone, I feel it. Okay. She goes, yeah, you're an empath. I'm like, okay. So she goes, look up the day that you were born. She goes, that will reveal a lot. She actually pulled the book out, and I bought it for this one reason. And I found something out in there that was very interesting. And I'm going to relate this to a lot of you, even if you don't have the same combination I have. If you're an empath, you have a very, very similar issue that's going on. So so on your first house is when someone is looking at you. So my first house, I'm a Leo, right? But my sun sign, I'm a Scorpio. Okay, the day I was born, or the month I was born. So she goes, your first house is when someone's on the outside looking at the outside of your house. She goes, you look like a tank. You look tough. You got this tough exterior. So people just assume they can hurl insults at you and you don't feel it. And that's why people are mean to you. And on top of it, they assume that you're probably a jerk. I'm like, but I'm not at all. She goes, no, I can tell already. She goes, because you're a Scorpio. She goes, your sun sign is when you walk inside. You open the door and you walk inside. So inside is velvet, and then plush wall-to-wall carpet, plush couches. Everything is soft and everything is comfortable. I was like, yeah. She goes, people don't see that side of you until they spend time with you and get to know you. And then they're like, oh my God, he's like the nicest guy in the world. This guy really cares. And I've been a total jackass and mean to this person. And because I just assumed based on what I first saw. Okay? That's why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You really should get to know a person over time. So I was really impressed with what she taught me. And I was like, really? Now, she happened to be an astrologist, by the way. And for my life, someone at the gym, a girl at the gym was really mean to me one day. She came across the gym, never seen her, never met her. She just joined the gym that week. And she just like ripped me a new one. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck? And so while she was yelling at me, like, I go, have I bumped into you? Did I cut you off on the highway or something? She goes, no. I go, well, was I rude to one of your friends? She goes, no. She goes, I don't even know you. I'm like, what? It did make no sense. Well, she came back about 6 months later at the gym. I was at the same part doing curls, and she apologized profusely. Okay. And she goes, I am so sorry. The more I get to know you, the more I realize like you're a really caring person and you're actually very sensitive. I go, yeah, I'm really sensitive. She'd yelled at me more than once, by the way. She yelled at me off and on for about 6 months. And so I was like, because she did it to such an extreme black and white, like she was really mean, and then she flips like, oh my God, I'm became really nice. That did something to me. It made me like, I looked back on all these people who had done that to me. And they had all said a very similar, like you know, they were just mean as fuck. And then after a period of time, like, man, they would apologize. I'm so sorry I did this to you. I didn't understand. I just assumed you were this fucked up person. I assumed you had this thick skin. You didn't care about people. Complete opposite of who I am. All right. So I was really impressed. So here's where I'm going to lead to. I'm going to go back to the book that's over there. Again, it's called The Day You Were Born. And what happened was I was reading this book. Now this is on the day, the very day. Okay, the year, the month, the day, and the 2-hour window that you were born. Okay, so if you're born just outside of that window, you're going to have a different profile. The one thing that stood out that just like really hit me as hard as what that lady taught me was, it said people born on this day don't understand jealousy. You don't have a jealous bone in your body. And when I read that, my whole life flashed in front of me. Because I would always ask people, like in middle school and high school, what's jealousy? Well, I remember my brother one day it's when you're pissed off at someone because, you know, they have something or they did something that you didn't or you can't. And I'm just like, but my brain was like, well, why would you be mad at someone? Because they won a trophy. Why would you be mad at someone because they're making more money than you? Like my brain could not compute that. I had life coaches, I had energy healers, I had therapists tell me like, well, Michael, you know, they're jealous. It's like my brain looked at it like, what's that? I couldn't comprehend it. It made no sense to me. I didn't understand. So here's my point. Narcissists are so completely opposite of not only an empath, but I would say a normally 80% healthy person or 70% healthy person. You can't understand. It's like, why would they do that?
I'm kind of laughing because a lot of times narcissists will do stuff that will completely screw themselves over. They'll get fired from a job. They'll lose an opportunity. And you're like, why would you do that? Like, they make no sense, not even to themselves. It's just like one of the things they'll do is they will be so mean to you and hurt you, and you confront them like, well, why did you do this? Well, I'm trying to keep you around. So you're being mean to me. You hurt me. You stabbed me in the back. You talk shit behind my back. You screwed me over. And you did that because you thought that would keep me around. And then they stop and they ponder. They go, wow, that is kind of stupid, isn't it? Like, yeah, that's effing stupid, but this is the thing about narcissists. They don't make any sense to anybody at all. But here's the cool thing. The videos that I've made over the last 2.5, 3 years about narcissist abuse, it breaks it down in a way that you can go, oh, so that's why they're doing it.
Not only that, but here's the problem that a lot of empaths have. All right, here it is. I would always want to help someone. Even when somebody was mean to me, I thought, I'm just going to be nice in return. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to let them know that I'm on their side. And they would get meaner and more aggressive and more bold and more in my face and just do the most heinous, messed up things you couldn't imagine. And it didn't make any sense to me. Here's the deal. Because if you're an empath or just a kind person in general, Your thinking is like, well, if someone's nice to me, of course I'm going to be nice back. A narcissist doesn't think that way. A narcissist, the way they are wired neurologically is they are like a predator. Now, here's the deal. We all have something called a lower reptilian brain, or in other words, reticulating activating system. It's on your brain stem. It's the smallest part of your brain. It's not a very intelligent brain. There's no thinking that going on at all. It's an instinctual brain, fight or flight, which means to keep you alive, to either fight or run away from danger, right? To keep you, its number one job is to keep you alive. Its number two job is to reproduce children to keep the human species going. That's it, right? They see everything as kill or be killed. That is literally the predator's brain. When you're talking about a leopard or a lion or a killer, a tiger, right? Or a psychopath, right? So when you're nice to them, what they are experiencing is, oh, this person's weak. I can kill this person. I can destroy this person, all right? And here's the thing about that is they get an endorphin rush like a cat chasing a mouse. It literally gets not only adrenaline, but there's a chemical, and I just forgot the name. It's an endorphin, but it gets this chemical released into its brain and into its system, and it gets high. It gets really excited. It's like, wow, this is fun. Narcissists have fun hurting you. It literally is a rush. It literally is a high. That's why you have to strike back. You have to sting them. You have to cut them down. You have to embarrass them in public. You got to humiliate them. Every time they call you on the phone, you've got to put them in their place, and you do it loudly. Because here's what's going to happen over a period of, because the one thing that narcissists don't like is they don't like to be hurt emotionally. The only way you can get a narcissist, man, because they have to be like, I don't want to, but they have to receive nothing but pain, emotional pain, fear, pain, and hurt and confusion and all that stuff, because it really hurts them. They're very sensitive emotionally, all right? If you're nice to them, it makes them feel good. And then on top of that, they attack you, which gives them that rush. So they're getting a double whammy of this is fun, this feels good, this is fun, this feels good, this is fun, this feels good. Why would they stop? Why would they stop? They won't. You're actually encouraging them by being kind to them. You've got to put a fucking wall up, and you've got to sting them, and you've got to sting them, and you've got to sting them until they stop calling, until they stop coming over. Here's the deal. This is the way that the neurology emotional system works. If you keep going to something and it hurts, you're going to stop. That's just human nature. That's animal nature. Just seem like the thing with the dog. When you get those shock collars on, when they go to a certain part of the perimeter, if you want to keep them like in a certain perimeter around the house, and if it shocks them, because there's like these little electrodes or whatever out there, if they cross it, they get shocked. They learn real fast, like, oh shit, don't go that far. As long as I stay within this, I'm fine. All right? So I don't like being mean to people, but it's your only, what's the word I'm looking for? It's your only device to truly protect yourself. Because you think, oh, well, I'll just move away 400 miles. That won't stop them. That won't stop them at all. I had one person quit their fucking job, move out of their home, and move literally 1.5 miles from me. And they called me up about a month and a half later, 2 months later, guess where I live? I'm like, oh, fuck, because I moved away from them. All right? There's another person I did this to, but I'm not. You're getting the point message of the story. So, number one, what do you have to do to get a narcissist to come after you and to hurt you? Nothing. Be nice. They just spotted you one day, just like, it's literally like a lion or a leopard that wakes up one day and they're hungry. So what are they going to do? They're going to stalk you. That's reptilian brain thinking. They're going to start looking around. Oh, there's the target. Once they lock on, you're the one they're going to come after. Until, if you ever watch those wildlife animal things in Africa or whatever, where like they go after the zebra and the zebra kicks them in the fucking jaw and it breaks their jaw, they kick them in the ribs, and after a while they're like, fuck this, and they give up. That's what you have to do. That is literally exactly what it's like dealing with a narcissist. If you start to see it from that perspective, and that's the second point that I was trying to make in this video, and that book is about the day you were born, is that you're not wired the way a narcissist is, and that's what an empath does or a nice person does is the absolute worst possible thing you can do when dealing with a narcissist, because a reptilian brain sees kindness as weakness. Like, you are the weakest part of the herd. In their brain, that's what they're thinking. And that's what predators are designed for. Who do predators go after? Do they go after the most dangerous, biggest, strongest, steer or cattle, or what do they call it, buffalo on the desert or on the land? No. They look for the one that's smallest. They look for one that's the weakest. Maybe it's too young, or it's injured, or something's wrong with it. It can't quite function, or it's a little bit slow. They go after the slowest and the weakest. They thin the herd. They are literally looking at you like you need to be thin, like you're the weakest of the herd, and they're going to take you out. You need to toughen up. You need to strengthen up, because if you don't, they're going to keep coming after you. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Remember, you don't have to do anything wrong. You literally just, you exist, and thus they go after you. Yes, they do all these mean things. So if anyone ever says to you, oh, what did you do to them to make them do this? You didn't do anything. You didn't make them do this, okay? So I wanted to leave that out there, because a lot of times people will ask you questions like that, and it hurts, because you're thinking, did you not just hear what I just fucking said to you? Like, what the fuck? And remember, someone who's doing that, there's a very good chance that they're asking you questions like, oh, what did you do to them? There's a good chance that that person's a narcissist, okay? Or they don't understand narcissist, and B or C, they're not a caring person, all right? It's possible they just misspoke and they didn't quite realize what they said because they don't understand the subject. But my point is, that is a red flag. So if someone goes, well, what did you do to them to make them do this? Red flag. I can think of, there's a person I spoke to on the phone who I didn't know very well, and they were defending narcissists, and I realized it took me about, and I started arguing with him, and they were just really attacking me, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Well, I'm telling you what happened to me, and I was like, oh, this person was a narcissist. So keep that in mind. If someone is attacking you, if someone is defending narcissism, get away from them. You don't want to be around people like that. Hey, God bless you guys. See you in the next video, and that's it. Bye.
To dream